Welcome back to LoveBabz, Love Talk. We're in the home stretch this morning. This is Paul Bass filling in for the great Babz Rawls-Ivy, your regular morning host on LoveBabz, Love Talk. She's on the Connecticut shoreline, not only soaking up whatever rays are there, but they're doing storytelling as you get back with a lot of stories to tell next week. In the meantime, we got kind of exciting, not quite breaking news, but what's happening new in Chatham Square section of Fairhaven, which has always been anchored by the Mary Wade Home, which is one of our great institutions for helping people as they get older live with safety, care, and community in their later years. And they have a new wing, a new addition to the complex called Chatham Place. It broke ground a few years ago. It got its first person coming in February. It's going strong. We've got 3 folks who are going to tell us about that today and kind of give us some insight and update in housing and community for in assisted living and memory care for older folks. Michael O'Brien is the executive director of Chatham Place at Mary Wade, meaning the Chatham Place part, not all of Mary Wade. Mm-hmm. Frank Rendy, who's community sales coordinator there, and Kara Hunter does marketing coordination for the whole operation, correct? So, and again, I'm going to ask you folks to get so close to your mic. You're almost touching it, but not quite, so you keep the germs away. So tell us, what is Chatham Place and how is it different from the senior living facility, Mary Wade?
So Chatham Place is a what's called a managed residential community, which means it provides a combination of housing, supportive personnel services, and amenities, but it also provides assisted living services, and those are services that are licensed by the Connecticut Department of Public Health. That means that we can then provide healthcare services to those who may need assistance.
And that's what assisted living is, right? And there's many different steps. As folks get older and if they can no longer live in their homes, which is sad, but you want them still to be in a nice place, they can live somewhere where they have independence, right? They have their own rooms, but they get help when they need it, right, on call, and they get their meals made, correct, and that kind of stuff.
Yes. So having the assisted living service license allows us to provide those services in combination with dining. We have nurses 24 hours, 7 days a week, licensed personnel nurses. We have certified nursing assistants and a wide range of programs, services, and amenities that allow the residents to remain as independent as they can for as long as they can, but also to know that they have peace of mind knowing that there are healthcare services that are there if their needs so change. And so they move in. We have both assisted living services as well as memory care services.
That's not instead, right? You're getting the assisted and the memory care, correct?
There's 2 different parts to our community. So,
okay.
So we have 84 apartment homes on our campus. 64 of those apartments are assisted living, and then 20 of those apartments are memory care.
Does memory care mean people with dementia or Alzheimer's who aren't aware? Every day, you kind of forget. There was a beautiful article about dementia in the New York Times yesterday. Did you read it? A writer whose mother has dementia and how she moved back to, I think it was in the South, no, in California, to take care of her and how hard it was at first, but then she came to see the beauty in it and that she's living what she called it the land of dementia, and she still saw the joy her mother could have in life, and she was still alive. And sometimes tapping into memories and not other memories, but every day was living. And it taught her a lot about living. What are you going to say about that, Frank?
And that's exactly what our memory care neighborhood provides.
Come close, yeah.
That's exactly what our memory care neighborhood provides for our Alzheimer's and dementia residents, is an opportunity to enjoy and have a good quality of life. We provide activities throughout the whole day so that their whole day is structured, so that they know that in the morning they'll get up and have breakfast at 8:30 once they've gotten dressed and showered and get their medications, and then following breakfast they'll start participating in activities that'll keep them engaged cognitively, physically, and socially throughout the whole day.
And it's true that we're living longer, right? So if we're living longer, there's a lot more people are going to have. I mean, they said, what was the figure? It was tens of millions in the world have, like every year there's like 10 million more people or something who have dementia, are diagnosed with it, and it happens gradually, right? That's a hard thing for the families you deal with, right? Because sometimes it's harder for the person who doesn't live at Mary Wade to come to grips with what's happening and the guilt feelings they might feel or responsibility, and that must be a real challenge for you folks.
It's a difficult journey for everyone.
Yeah.
And families do feel that guilt that They had them at home, tried as much as possible, but now what do we do? And
Also
we can't help
appreciation
them.
that you're there.
Yeah, so when residents move in, the families now don't have to become caregivers anymore. They can visit as daughters and sons or brothers and sisters, and it creates a better relationship.
We're talking about Chatham Place, and that's a new center at the Mary Wade home for senior living in Fairhaven's Chatham Square neighborhood. Got it? And we're talking, it's 84 apartment units, 64 for assisted living, and 20 including people with memory loss. What is different about the assisted living and the rest of Mary Wade home?
So on the campus of Mary Wade, there is a skilled nursing facility. There is also an adult daycare center.
Oh, okay.
And then there is a residential care home, which also provides a level of assisted living care, but it's a little bit different than what Chatham Place is all about. It's for people with less resources, but provides a wonderful opportunity to live independently, to have that compassionate care, as well as having meals, programs, services, and needed health care.
I'm sorry, which has the one that already exists?
Well, the way I would explain it is that
If you come closer to the mic, Karen.
Chatham Place is about independent living and continuing a lifestyle for the individuals versus what Mary Wade has been, which is more healthcare oriented. So the skilled nursing and the rehabilitation, those all have a healthcare factor to them. Whereas Chatham Place is about the independent living with supplemental health needs. These needs aren't very
So
great.
it means, like in one case, I had a stroke, let's say, or something. Like, in other words, you had a major medical event that needed you to be in assisted living that had pretty much intensive medical care. And as the other one, it's more like you've gradually gotten to a point where you can't be on your own anymore, but it's not as much of an emergency. Or am I getting that wrong?
No, you've done that very well. But to move into a community like Chatham Place, an assisted living community, you have to be what's called chronic and stable. So you do have to be able
Chronic and stable, not
Yeah.
unstable.
right,
And stable.
chronic and stable. And so there is a qualification process, an assessment that we do to make sure that the residents will thrive when they move into our community. Because if they're not chronic and stable, then they're probably going to need a more acutely designed level of care.
So what you already had was more acute care.
Yeah.
So this is less acute care. That sounds to me of how to summarize it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So and so how many Chatham Square overall? When was Mary Wade founded?
Oh, 155 years ago in
Yeah.
1866.
Wow.
Yes.
And you have the parade every year where Mary Wade shows up.
Yes.
And who was Mary Wade?
Mary Wade was the sister of Lucy Boardman, who was a philanthropist. And Lucy was involved in many efforts, but she made a very sizable donation and named the home after her sister.
Okay, who needed the help?
No,
Oh, just named it because she loved her sister.
because she loved her sister.
And that was in 18...
Well, the donation did not come in 1866. There were 5 women who actually opened Mary Wade at that time to help the women who were affected by the Civil War.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yes, so a lot of husbands obviously did not come home, or women in need who found themselves without support, and so they opened it up, and it was a matter of giving them a place to be, learn a trade, and then get on their feet and leave Mary Wade. And the home was not named that at that time. It was this. It must have been a great name back then, but it was the Home for the Friendless back in 1866.
Isn't it so interesting the way language changes?
Language does change. But then,
Can you imagine trying to market that now, Frank? Hey, you want to come to the Home for the Friendless?
I have a hard time saying it.
Yeah.
Correct. But then in about around the 1920s, the early 1900s, Lucy Boardman made this $20,000 donation, in the
Which
name
was
of-
money back then.
Well, absolutely, for her in the name of her sister, and then years after, Mary Wade changed the name to officially be Mary Wade.
And when did it become a senior living facility?
You know, it just progressed that way. So what happened was, as always, Mary Wade looks at the needs of the community and the needs around them, and that is actually how we have built all the services we have. Is really by looking at what are the needs. And what happened was the children and the younger women moved out, and women who were older in age stayed. And so through just this natural progression, the Mary Wade home became a home for more of the aging population. So it wasn't something that just happened. It was not a decision that was made behind the scenes in a boardroom in a meeting. This was a natural progression, and that's how we got to be where we are today.
And that's where society's gotten. We've
Correct.
had this challenge of how to care for the elderly. Would it be fair to say that Chatham House, which is new, represents a response to changing demographics, changing needs of the senior population?
Yes, very much so. You know, a lot of people right now, have been living in their homes for many, many years, but now they get to a health crisis, and living in their home is not possible. There's many challenges. They can't go up and down stairs. They can't cook for themselves. They can't drive, so they're isolated. And moving into a community provides the opportunity to get social interaction and to really thrive. So based on the fact that people are living longer, we're seeing more of that happen. And then also the increase in dementia. There's only, you get to a certain point where being at home is very, very challenging, and you need a community to help with the care.
And what kind of activities do you do during the day? You talked about, Frank, you're going to start the morning at 8:30. You're going to get your medication. You're going to have meals together. You're going to have other stuff to do. And I remember visiting relatives in assisted living, how important the meals are. That's sort of like a big part of the day.
Yes, we have,
like in college.
Yeah, we have 3 chef-prepared meals, so we have a whole culinary team. It's restaurant-style dining, and the residents have specials every day, plus we have an anytime menu, so that's a big part of it. Activities throughout the day, we'll have musical entertainment coming in, so we'll have live entertainment. They also do things like seminars. We have seminars to help them with understanding, becoming stronger and better with balance and falls, or educational seminars. We'll have activities where they can get creative with art. We'll have a happy hour. They also do physical activities, so every day there's exercise. The day usually starts around 10 with things like the Daily News or the Daily Chronicle, which is a newspaper about what happened in this day in history. And then throughout the day, there's just a variety of different activities that can keep them engaged. Sometimes it's trivia. So
one thing they mentioned in that dementia article yesterday, the op-ed in the Times, was about how, in fact, time doesn't move in one direction for anybody. It's not the same direction. Time isn't always linear, and it isn't always happening at the same speed for everybody else. And that's one thing she came to understand about dementia. It must be very interesting with you folks working with folks at a different stage in their lives, at different capacity, and understanding how they're experiencing life, and coming to appreciate that. I mean, it's really, you're doing God's work. And now, how does one afford? Is it mostly people who have exhausted their life savings to be able to go to senior? How do you go? Because I always understood that you'd have to kind of get rid of everything to go into an assisted living home. Not in the same Mary way, but
No. For Chatham Place and assisted living communities, they typically are private pay. So we are a private pay model. So an individual would have to have a certain amount of resources to be able to afford the monthly fee to pay for their housing and all the amenities and services that are provided. Nursing homes also rely a lot on government funding, whether Medicaid or Medicare services. So it's a different model. So we do not get government funding. We are private pay. So one has to use their assets, their resources, their savings. Many times they've sold their home, and those assets are then used to cover the cost of living in the community.
So tell me, how many are you filled up with the 84?
No. Again, we just started moving residents in on the 1st of February.
And how's it going?
Very well.
I mean, you did this during the pandemic.
Yeah, we have about close to 30 people right now. And, assisted living is kind of not a need-based, like a nursing home. It's people make a decision like, okay, I'm going to move out of my home.
Which is such a tough decision.
So it's not the simplest of decisions. Sometimes it could take months with some families to come to that. Sometimes they wait until a crisis happens and, where someone fell and now they broke their hip, and now living in their home is really not going to be something that's going to work for them, and then they make that decision. So, but we're getting a lot of inquiries, and things are really moving along.
I think what's important to think about too is that the development of Chatham Place was a result of some very proactive, strategic thinking by the leadership of Mary Wade, leadership in the board of directors, and it's a response to the growing needs of the elderly population. And what's been exciting for us is we were able to, as we have opened our doors and expanded our services, be able to take advantage of the continuum of services that are already on the campus of Mary Wade. So if an individual moves into Chatham Place and over time their needs may change, we can then transition them right on our campus into the next level of care. So with the
That's a good thing for the families too, and for the people there. Like, you don't have to really move.
Right. So when you move in, we've got this continuum already there, whether it's healthcare services, transportation services, and so forth. So that's wonderful peace of mind for the family. They don't have to worry about where they may go next. They're going to stay on our campus, and we're going to care for them, regardless of what their healthcare needs are and what their financial needs may be.
And what about the parade? So Mary Wade lived in the early 1900s, but is still around because she pops up, hasn't aged much. She's not living at Mary Wade.
No, she
And she
looks
shows
amazing.
up at this parade that takes place. It's really fun.
Yeah,
I've been
it
to a
is.
few of them. It's June, right? It's May.
The end of May. So it's May 26th. If I'm
It's usually
correct.
on a Friday
May
morning.
May 27th. It's on a Friday.
Thank you. May
Yeah,
It's right
27th.
before Memorial Day.
And what you do is you get kids from the neighborhood, schools, neighbors, marching bands, clowns, right? And,
We do.
And you just march through Fairhaven's Chatham Square neighborhood.
Correct. It's a celebration.
And then
of
I
the
think you have the
community.
older folks who live in Mary Wade seated in chairs outside the building, right?
We do.
And Mary Wade comes dressed up.
She's there every year.
Well, let me just get, well, you guys are definitely doing God's work, and I appreciate you coming on Dateline New Haven. I mean, and LoveBabz, LoveTalk, and WNHH-FM. Congratulations on the new wing.
Thank you.
I hope
Yeah.
that, and just let people, if people want to know more, how do they find out? How do they get in touch with Mary Wade?
Well, they can go to our website, which is chathamplace.org. They can also go to marywade.org and click on Chatham Place, or they can call us at 475-900-6040.
And right now, every Thursday through the end of June from 4 to 6, we have an open house with nice goodies for anybody who wants to stop in, unannounced or by calling to say they're coming. And we'd love to show our community, introduce anybody to our residents and our staff. And we'd love to have people stop by.
Sorry, I had to get the music playing. It was a little
No,
complicated
Thank you,
there.
Paul. Thank you.
Well, we love the Mary Wade home. I've had families who are just so grateful you were there to help people through the later years of life so they can live with dignity, be connected to community, and that we respect people's need to live a full life as possible to the end.
Please come visit. The doors are always open.
All right, so Mary Wade's home. Frank Rendy, Michael O'Brien, and Kara Hunter. Always a pleasure to have you in WNHH. Thanks. And I love Babz, LoveTalk. It's been an honor, Paul Bass, to be filling in for Babz Rawls-Ivy this week. And thanks to Harry Droz, our station manager, who keeps us firing on all platforms. We're going to take it out with the Afro-Semitic Experience performing I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free from the group CD, A Plea for Peace. This is Paul Bass inviting you to fly free with us all day and all night long on WNHH New Haven's home for community radio.